Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Racing Podblast with me, Tony Mack, and Ben Aiken from Narrowing the Field. And we're off to Newbury this week, covering 3 races from their Super Sprint Saturday, before closing out the show with top, middle and bottom update and future plans. Stay tuned. Racing first though, and Newbury we go. First of our 3 races under analysis, the Mettal UK Handicap at 225. Ben, can you start us off with that one and the latest update of Charlie, please, who's just fell off his bed?
Yeah, he's back on his bed.
Oh, good lad.
He's too big for any bed. He's a numpty. The Mettal UK Handicap, a staying handicap, won last year by Sweet William. He went on to post some impressive efforts in some big races after winning this. Not sure there's anything of his calibre working in the field this year, but you never know. My shortlist for this year's renewal is Naquib, Shagpile and Dancing in Paris. And Naquib, yet to fire this season, you'd say, but set some tough tasks in all fairness. He wasn't beaten that far in the Copper Horse Handicap at Royal Ascot last time out. He stepped up to 2 miles for the first time here. I think that should suit him. He is still unexposed in handicap company. This is only his 3rd start in a handicap. He's a horse with strong form under the conditions he meets with on Saturday. At Class C level and below, and away from good to firm ground, he has 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a 3rd. So he has conditions to suit, and he should go well in this, Naquib. Shagpile was a winner at What's last time out. That was her first try at 2 miles. She's only £1 higher here. This is only her 8th start, only 4th in handicap, so she's another unexposed type. Drying ground might be a small concern for her, but she does have a progressive profile worth consideration for this Shagpile. Dancing in Paris is the other on my shortlist here. Really kicked on since they stepped him back up to 1 mile 2 and further trips, and he's banged in 2 wins and 2 seconds on his last 4 starts. So he comes here banging form. His trainer Ian Williams has won this race a couple of times, so he knows what it takes to get one ready for the contest. And Ian Williams, he's also a trainer that has some excellent stats with his last time out winners that return within 7 days, especially those aged 3 to 6 in flat handicaps. 23 winners and 9 placed from 45 qualifiers, 51% strike rate, 71% winner place strike rate, and over 39 points profit. Dance in Paris fits those stats, so some strong stats here to back up the chances of Dancing in Paris. Of that 3, I'd probably just about prefer Naquib. I think he's better than he's shown so far this season, but I'd also want to have something on Dancing in Paris, so I'll take that 2 against the field, Naquib and Dancing in Paris. What you got for the Mettal UK Handicap, Tony?
Yeah, it's good. A good point about Ian Williams there as well, Ben. That he really does excel at when he's trying to repeat wins in different, especially at Chester and these long distance handicaps as well. He's really good, isn't he? Good stuff. Definitely. I've got Sleep and Lying each way in this 225, but a Dutch on Kyle of Lockash, and he's won at Newbury. Better at 1 mile 6, mind, but given the opposition, I think he can give a good account here. Kyle of Lockash. 3 of his 4 career victories have come when running between 31 and 60 days since his last run. Also, I've got Pridwen, last of 9 at Royal Ascot in the Group 1 Gold Cup. I think he can be forgiven that. I think it was a step too far for him. 2 victories over a similar trip. 2 of 8 victories on good to soft ground. Gets on well with Callum Shepherd, a win and a place from 3 rides on the 6-year-old gelding. Solid form in similar company, 2 wins and 4 place efforts from 11 starts. That's Pridwen. And Kyle of Lockash, not each way, as a Dutch tomorrow, and Sleep in Line possibly each way. I'm going to have a look at the price of Sleep in Line in the morning and or Saturday morning and see if if it was worth an each way. But certainly Dutch on Kyle of Lockash and Pridwen. On to the 3 o'clock, Ben. The Hackwood Stakes, Group 3 over 6 furlong. Good big traditional race here at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, Charlie update Mark II. He's just spun round and he's facing the other way so he can fall off the other side of the bed because he is a fanny. Yeah, back to the Hackwood Stakes. By the way, Charlie's my dog, in case anybody doesn't know. One of my dogs. It's not a kid or something. Well, yeah, Hackwood Stakes, Group 3 over 6 furlongs. A quick look at the pace for this one. Regional looks the most likely one heading off in front. Probably Quino up there with them. They're drawn in stalls 10 and 8. That gives potential for a bit of pace bias to the top half of the draw. Only 10 runners, so might not make a huge difference, but I think it's worth keeping in mind at the very least. Potential for that pace coming on the near side. As a short list this year, I am looking at Regional, Lake Forest and Comanche Falls. Regional been contesting much better races than this on recent starts. His last 4, I've seen him in 3 Group 1s and a Group 2, winning once, finishing second twice, and finishing a 2.4 length 5th on the other. So he brings plenty of top level form to this race, and he's the correct favourite for me, Regional. The drying ground will suit him. All of his wins will come on good or quicker. And as already mentioned, he may well get to control things from the front here. So Regional is high in my thoughts for this. Lake Forest steps out of his own age group for the first time here. He comes in off the back of an excellent second in the Commonwealth Cup last time out. He's another that should appreciate the drying ground. His trainer, Willie Haggis, also has some solid stats in Class 1 races at Newbury over 6 furlongs to 1 mile 4 furlongs. Especially with his 3 and 4 year olds in races restricted to horses aged 3 and older. Haggis is 13 winners, 5 placed from 30 runners under those conditions. 43% win strike rate, 60% win and play strike rate, over 31 points profit. So some solid pointers for Lake Forest there. And last year's winner, Comanche Falls, he's the other on my short list. He has his prime conditions to shoot for here. A straight 6 furlongs in June to September. Connor Beasley riding and not heavy ground, where he is 11 wins and 2 places from 18 starts. That's 11 of his 12 career wins. So conditions very much in Comanche Falls' favour here as he looks to defend his crown. He also generally is at his peak in the June and July period. It's 8 wins from 15 starts in those 2 months, and he does look a player again this year. I like all 3 of that lot, to be fair, but I do think there's a chance that Regional just blasts out from his high draw and stamps his class on the field back in Group 3 company. So he's the main one I like, but I also want to have something on Comanche Falls. He's 12 to 1 and bigger right now, and I think that's overpriced. I do think Comanche Falls can have a save at Regional, and Comanche Falls for me. What you got, Tony, in the Hackwood Stakes?
I remember Comanche Falls doing you a favour a couple of years ago, mate. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
In one of the big races. I don't know whether it was this one.
Don't think it was this one, but he's got good, strong fine conditions, so they often do well for me.
Yeah, well, I agree with you on the other 2, Regional and Lake Forest. They're my 2 qualifiers for this race here, Ben. Regional is 5 from 15 starts on turf, 2nd of 17, beating a length in the King's Stand, or the King Charles III, or whatever they want to call it now. Won't want it too soft, Regional, but 2 wins over a similar trip. Jockey Callum Rodriguez is 3 from 6 on Regional, hitting the frame a further 2 occasions as well. So good jockey horse relationship there with Callum Rodriguez. And also Lake Forest, 2nd of 14, beaten 2 1/4 lengths in the Group 1 Commonwealth Cup, as you said, Bruce. Bruce? Ben? Bruce. People, Bruce all over the place. That's from 3B's Radio, Bridlington. You know that. Anyway, moving on. I'll cut that bit out, mate. As you alluded to, Ben, and at Royal Ascot, met plenty of trouble in running. 2 from 6 in his career, both over this trip. 2 from 6 over this trip. And Tom Marquand is 2 from 5. Another 2 efforts hitting the frame on Lake Forest. So I'll be Dutching Lake Forest and Regional tomorrow. And because of what you said, Ben, we'll be having a look at Comanche Falls. So moving on to the Super Sprint itself at 3:35. Class 2 event over 5 furlongs. Ben, what's your thoughts, Super Sprint stakes?
Yeah, a 2-year-old contest, so generally not a race I would delve into in the race trend too much, but I have noticed a few trends that can help narrow this big field. The first one actually drops the field down to less than half, and that trend is the last 12 winners were all in the top 9 when it came to previous amount of prize money won compared to the other runners in the field. So if you arranged the field by how much prize money they had won in their career before running in this race, the last 12 were all in the top 9 positions. That was my starting point. I then added in the following couple. All 12 recorded a top 6 finish over 5 furlongs on their career debut, and all 12 were coming off a break of at least 14 days. I also noticed the last 12 were all drawn 10 or higher. 11 of the 12 were drawn 13 or higher, so high draws have been the call in the super sprint. Thrown all that together, it left me with a short list of 3. It Ain't 2, Miss Colada, and Q8GR. It Ain't 2 looks a solid player in this. She's faced some decent company already in her career. 3 or 5 races coming listed company. Her debut at Newmarket in April is a race that's been working out well since. The 5 that finished directly behind her that day, all having won at least once since. So I definitely see the appeal with It Ain't 2. And the other I like from that 3-strong shortlist is Miss Colada. She's trained by Richard Hannon, and this is a race that he and his father before him have always liked to target. Between them, they've won it 8 times, 5 of them with fillies. Miss Colada is Hannon's only entry this year, and she comes in off the back of 2 comfortable victories. I think she looks overpriced to me, and this 14 to 1 or bigger at the time of recording. So it's 2 for me in this one. It Ain't 2 and Miss Colada. What you got, Tony, for the super sprint?
At the moment, considering a Dutch bet on It Ain't 2 and Vingard as well, but we'll consider it further on Saturday morning. But Cairburn, I've got. Each way will be my selection at the moment. 14 to 1 with William Hill. That's miles ahead of anybody else. I think it's around 9 to 1 with other firms. 14 to 1 first 4 places. Drawn 10 as well, going off what you were saying there. Interesting about the draw in this Super Sprint Stakes that's off at 3:35. One on debut, only had 1 run in a 13-runner novice stakes at Salisbury at the end of last month, beating 12 rivals a neck. The second in the race, Brighton Boy, has since won for trainer Andrew Balding at Chester earlier this month. It's not a big name trainer. I think it would have been shorter if it was a big name trainer. He's trained by Jack Jones. Upon graduating from university, Jack gained experience as pupil assistant to Kim Bailey and Paul Nichols as well during his time. Jack rode as an amateur jockey. Eager to broaden his knowledge of flat racing, Jack Jones travelled to Australia, where he spent a year with Chris Waller, enjoying 6 months in Sydney and 6 months in Melbourne, working with horses as high profile as Winks. On returning to England, Jack spent over 3 years assisting flat trainers David Simcock and Richard Spencer in the headquarters of flat racing Newmarket. So Jack Jones, a name to watch. Cairburn tomorrow in the 3:35 each way at around 14 to 1 with William Hill at the moment. That's my one. But I'll be considering a Dutch bet on 8-2 and Vingard come Saturday morning. OK, Ben, onwards we go. Top, middle and bottom time.
The great thing about loving football is you cannot explain why you love it. It just happens. Chasing a ball round a park, wanting one team to win against the other.
El Mahoney, right foot, whips it. Oh, jeez, he peeps, man.
Fabulous. Dear old Archie. He was on the golf course last Sunday when England were in the Euro final. Did you read that, Ben?
No, I didn't notice.
He said he was asked about the Euro final. He says he'd be playing golf. Good old Archie.
Fair enough.
Top, middle and bottom, Ben. Euro special is now over and done with. Thank God.
Yeah. One win each for us last week, so minus 4 points. But we both would have had a return if Spain hadn't banged in that late winner against England in the final. But that's how top, middle and bottom rolls, unfortunately. That left us with finishing totals for our Euro special of me minus 12, Tony minus 18.06. I don't think we'll be riding by the seat of our pants again the next time we attempt a top, middle and bottom international special. A few close calls, but that's international football, not our bread and butter. No top, middle and bottom next week. We got a couple of weeks before the proper stuff kicks back into action with the Scottish lower leagues firing back up on the 3rd of August. Next week, however, we will have our anti-post-Scottish League winner, Trixie. And I know you've earmarked this week coming to lock yourself away, Tony, and get some data analysis on the go and get yourself primed and ready for the anti-post Trixie.
I'm all over SofaScore, mate.
All over it.
All over it.
That'll be next week. And one final piece of news.
This is exciting, isn't it? How good's this?
The Racing Podblast are now the official sponsors of 2 players from Clyde FC. Well, we sponsor the home kit of 2 Clyde players. Anyway, those players are Martin Rennie and Kyle Connell, both of who scored in Clyde's midweek rout of Edinburgh City. Go on, boys. Martin Rennie, Kyle Connell. So apologies in advance for the Clyde propaganda we will be hitting everyone with over the next few months. My wife actually said to me when I told her we were sponsoring the 2 Clyde boys, she said, remember not let the fact you sponsor 2 Clyde players cloud your judgment for top, middle and bottom. And I was like, way too late for that. I'm fully on the Clyde train now. Try to win the bottom section every week. Come on, and I don't care who they're playing. I don't care what the price is. Go on the bully wee. Clyde. We are now Clyde fans for the next however long. 6 months.
8 months. 9 months.
9 months.
All aboard the Clyde cloud. Fantastic.
The Clyde, yep. I've already been hammering your WhatsApp with Clyde updates.
Yeah.
So
it was good. What score did it finish the other night?
5-0.
And 2 for Rennie and
1 for Rennie, 1 for Kyle Connell. Martin Rennie scored in his last 5 games for Clyde.
Blimey. Both sponsored by the Racing Podblast.
Indeed they are.
Fantastic.
Big season ahead for them.
Absolutely. All right. Many thanks for listening to the latest edition of the Racing Podblast. Best luck with your bets this weekend. Official sponsors of Clyde's finest strikers, Martin Rennie and Kyle Connell. Best luck with your bets at Newbury this weekend. If you're up nice and early in the mornings during the week and catch my breakfast show on our brand new station for Bridlington, 3Bs Radio Bridlington, you'll find that over on 3bsradio.com and also on the Apple App Store, which we're on. We've got a nice shiny new Apple app available at the Apple App Store, and you can catch more from Ben over in narrowinthefield.co.uk. You had some under the radar more stuff this week, Ben, didn't you?
Some handicap sleepers.
Handicap sleepers, that was it. Sorry.
Handicap sleepers. Well, they are a wee bit under the radar.
Fantastic.
They're not the top level horses. So, handicap sleepers every Tuesday.
What a great raid. Absolutely brilliant raid. And you can get that free of charge over narrowinthefield.co.uk. Big thanks for listening this week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the sun, everyone. And we'll see you all next week. Cheers, Ben.
Cheers, Tony.
Thank you.